Let's talk about your books. So, your first book, as you mentioned, is about middle school. It's titled Middle School: The Stuff Nobody Tells You About. And I love that you cover so many different topics, from how to navigate friendships to how to use a locker and also how to deal with your body changing.
hmm
So, what inspired you to write the book?
So I'm from the belief that middle school is everybody's collective awkward phase.
Hmm.
So nobody quite knows what they're doing and everything is changing. And I went to 3 schools in 3 years, mostly because I was struggling. It wasn't struggling, I was bored academically. Like I was struggling to feel challenged. I wanted to keep growing and I couldn't find the right place. So having 3 very different experiences, I kind of felt like I was the expert on middle school at the time. And I got asked a lot about being an adolescent young girl, especially when I was at ASA that year. And it kind of just came about as I would love to be able to help someone else because I went through a lot in those 3 years. And if something I went through can make someone else's life a little bit better or they can learn something from it, then I'm happy to do that. I want to give back. If one thing I write in here helps somebody, then it was all worth it. And I can say that I got to do that. And it's genuinely why I love what I do overall is that I feel like I'm able to at least help somebody out every day.
Hmm. Yeah, and it helps them feel that they're not alone in their struggles, too.
hmm
I also want to mention that your artwork is included in the book, too. How would you describe your style?
I think my style is very colorful. It's very cheerful, and I just have a good time. I love bright colors. I love anime. I love pop art. I love things that are bright and they just make you happy. And that's something that I just value. And I hope that my art expresses that about me as a person. Is I'm always very I try to be outgoing, even though I'm pretty introverted and shy, but I also want people to feel that sense of joy. And I think art is a great way to deliver that.
Hmm. Yeah. Your second book is titled A Freshman Survival Guide for College Students with Autism Spectrum Disorders. Tell us about this one.
So I wanted to write about college because when I was going to college, I went to the University of Florida. When I was going to college, everything out there was written by parents and professionals. There was
Mm.
nothing by autistic students for autistic students. And I wanted to fill that void. But I also wasn't sure what the best way to do it was. And I was doing it right after my freshman years, kind of just reflecting and things that I wish I had known and could have done differently. And what's really interesting, I think, about the college book is I'm really proud of it. And I reflect back a lot on work that I've done over the last 10 years or so. And I see how much my views and how much my perspective has changed and evolved over time. Is I probably wouldn't always give the exact same advice that I would have given at 18 or 19 that I would at 25. And it's so interesting, especially because then I spent another 3 years in law school after college. So I've been on university campuses for what, like 6 years at that point.
Hmm.
So then I had very different feelings based on that experience. And I'm like, oh, if I could go back, I would give even more advice and I want to help. And even now, I talk to students a lot. So I see kind of what goes on today. And I feel like things move so quickly, even to social media. We didn't have as much Instagram presence. We didn't have TikTok or Snapchat. We didn't have any of that when I was in college. It was just like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, barely. So it's really interesting seeing how much things are evolving socially and even on campuses and off campus. So it's something that I'm glad that I'm able to kind of demystify a little bit, but I feel like there's so much work to be done in that space.
Yeah. So, if a freshman picked up your book, what would be the one piece of advice that you hope they would take away from it?
Don't be afraid to ask for help. I know that you're at this point in your life, and a lot of young people feel this way, and myself included, and I'm still struggling with this a little bit, is you think you have to do everything by yourself. You
Mm.
think that your independence will somehow be taken away or limited if you don't do it all alone, but independence isn't really the goal. I feel like the goal is knowing when you do need help and interdependence. So
Hmm.
it's okay if you can't clean your room by yourself or if you need to go to a professor because you don't understand something. Because I was always afraid to ask for help. And going to a professor to me was so intimidating because I'm like, here's this person who's like God status, knows everything to know about this particular topic. And here is me, this like lowly student who doesn't quite understand. And they're going to think that I'm dumb or I didn't pay attention or something else. And really, they want to help you. They want you to succeed. And I wish I had known that there are so many people, even if they don't always know you, that are still invested in your success. So asking for help, whatever that means, whether it's in class, whether it's your mental health, whether it's help cleaning your apartment or talking to your parents more than once a day, that's totally valid, and it doesn't mean that you're not independent or that someone's going to take that away from you. It
Right.
means that you're self-aware enough to realize that you can't do it alone. And it sounds kind of self-righteous to say that sometimes, especially when you're talking about young people, but there is kind of this fear amongst young people with disabilities that you might not have the same freedoms and independence if you do ask for help, and that's not true.
Hmm. Yeah, that's really good clarification. You've been watching Autism Knows No Borders. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Also, we'd love to hear from you, so let us know what you think in the comments section. Click here to watch this interview in its entirety. You can also find us on your favorite podcast app. Tune in each week for engaging conversations of how people across the globe are inspiring change and building community. Thanks for watching. Take care.